In this episode of A Doctor's Anonymous, Martin describes using a poisoned dart fired through a blowpipe to tranquilise his son. We wish to make it clear that this is not true. The darts aren't poisoned.
Well, it's Groundhog Day again, folks.
I think it was a throwaway comment that we made about life being a bit like Groundhog Day, which then sent me down a rabbit hole and looked at, what an amazing film Groundhog Day is. And I remember watching it. I mean, it's 1993, so it's, God, how many years is that? 33 years old.
God, Mark, we're old.
33. Jesus Christ. I think I saw it at the cinema. Crying out loud.
I didn't see it at the cinema, but I definitely, I saw it when it first came out, and I've watched it numerous times since.
We were discussing about how every day seems the same. Every day follows the same pattern, and you just feel like you're going through the motions, and it's that kind of, oh God, everything's got to be done in a certain way, because with adopted children, they have certain ways of being able to cope with everyday situations. And so you end up working to this routine, which is like planned to military degree almost. And that's where this idea came from.
Over a decade ago when I watched it, I just saw it as, this is a really good film. It said, now when I watch it and I think back to the decade that we've had, it kind of rings true with our lives a little bit.
It's kind of that caught in that, there's a word for it, isn't it? There's a name for that genre of film. It's like caught in that time loop. And it's like when you're watching it, it's really frustrating in some ways. You just think, oh, come on. But I've read something about I can't remember if it was based on a book or something. And,
yeah, it was.
And isn't there something like, if you add up all the time he'd been caught in this time loop, it was something like 63 years, something stupid like that. I don't remember the full facts, but it's yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I've heard that patch as well.
This is Adopters Anonymous. Anything you say here is in the strictest confidence.
Who are these people?
Man, these people are heroes.
These wonderful folk, Carl and Martin, they truly are great people. They deal with crazy stuff every day, every single day.
If you listen to their stories, it's like they're living a real-life Hunger Games.
The reason we're going to talk about this is because, number one, I have got nothing sensible to say at the moment, because for about the last month and a half or so, I've been either flat out ill or head down working, or a combination of both. And so I kind of feel like my brain has turned to mush in some ways. That said, we are going to do something very important in the next episode.
It's about the government cuts, isn't it?
We're going to be looking at the way that the government is going to attempt to cut the Adoption and Special Guardianship Support Fund, which is the ASGSF fund. I'm going to do my homework. You're going to do your homework. And we'll come back and talk about what it actually means. One thing that we'll talk about, and you said to me today, which I think is very important, I think we're just very lucky that we are where we are in our adoption journeys, that we have got the majority of, well, I think most, if not all, testing of various different conditions, etc., done already. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, it won't have a massive impact on me, because obviously we don't rely on a lot of things. But for you, I imagine there are some issues that are going to be seriously affecting you.
Quite possibly, yeah. I mean, like you say, for the first time in this podcast, I will try and do a little bit of prep and not wing it like I do on every other app. But yeah, like I said to you earlier on, I'm so pleased that we are where we are. If we were starting out now on our adoption journey, I wouldn't like to think how we'd manage. We've got quite a lot in place, diagnoses, some therapy, so I would not like to be starting the adoption journey now.
Let's not dive into it too far because obviously it's really deep, but I'm just looking at the headlines here and it says something like the fair access limit for annual therapy funding was reduced by 40% from 5k to 3k per child. Now, these things are bloody expensive. And so that is a massive cut. We'll have a massive impact. And we're living in a cost of living crisis and everything is going up, not down.
Yeah.
And so the needs are just as expensive, if not getting more expensive. So yeah, we're going to probably swear a lot. Tell me about your Groundhog Day. Let's compare.
Okay, so I think I mentioned to you on a message not so long ago that Groundhog Day, the Monday to Friday, school routine and then bedtime routine is pretty challenging. And although at the weekend it's not school, it's a different kind of Groundhog Day. So the morning routine is pretty much the same 7 days a week. So I'll get up, I'll put the kettle on, do my wife and myself a brew, take the brew up to my wife, and then feed the dog, feed the fish, feed the guinea pig, go farm here. And then feed my son his breakfast, which in itself can be challenging. At the minute it's not too bad. It's kiwi fruit, pure orange juice, like a coffee latte cold drink, and then it's apple and blackcurrant. Fruit winder, egg on toast or Nutella on toast. So it's not too bad, but you kind of think you've cracked it and you've got that routine nice and sorted, and then all of a sudden he'll go, I don't like kiwi, I don't like this, I don't like that. But he'll decide it on the day when there aren't many options, so, when I come downstairs, do the guinea pigs, I bring his socks down, get his shoes ready, get his toothbrush and toothpaste ready, put his meds on the side by the front door with his juice bottle. So everything's kind of there on hand, and it can be pretty quick getting him out the door kind of thing. Although when he's taking his meds, he's in front of a mirror, the ADHD kicks in, and yeah, he'll start singing 60 musical songs. Or another one he does, if it's not raining, he'll run out to the front door, across the cul-de-sac, to touch the gate for the apartments, and then run back. And then he'll take another tablet, and it's like, you have to take 5 tablets. I don't want you to be doing that in between each tablet. He'll eat, he'll be on his on a mobile phone, which occasionally can be a bit of a pain trying to get him off that. We still have to dress him. If it's anything else that he wants to go and do, he can dress himself. He's quite capable of dressing himself. But in the morning, getting ready for school, he's not capable of dressing himself. So you have to dress him. And then he comes downstairs. He's trained the dog to sit on his knee while he has his socks on, which, to be fair, helps a little bit with his socks. I don't need to tell you about the socks. I think I've mentioned it enough times. And then, he off he goes. I'd say the last couple of weeks, it's not been too bad. And I think that's probably a little bit to do with the fact that I'm now working. I'm going to gym and the meds are working, so I am feeling better. So I'm not using pace because I don't need to use pace, but my facial expression and my tone of voice is not stressed. So he's not reacting to that. So he's quite calm. Off he goes, and then take the dog for a walk, come home, and then eats tidy up, something to eat. Then, like I say, I go to the gym. Then if I'm not working, he's kind of prepping everything ready for when he gets back. And Monday nights is great because he comes home, he goes to the toilet, getting changed, we go singing lessons. Of course, Greg's on the way to singing lessons. That's not a problem. Then the other night, he started going to these nanas on a Tuesday night, do sewing or some baking. He didn't go tonight. He's a bit off tonight, so we've had a bit of bad language. But yeah, it's like just Monday to Friday, just morphs into one. You know, thankfully at the minute I'm not feeling too bad. So I was thinking of something earlier on. It's kind of Groundhog Day is the same day every day, and I think the cycle. This is my opinion, right? But I think the cycle that I get into is you don't sleep, so you get up in the morning in a mood and stressed. Then you have a bit of a rough morning, so you're stressed. The only self-care you get is walking the dog, then tidying up. Then he gets home. If he's had a bad day and something goes wrong and he kicks off, you're then stressed. You don't sleep. You're in a bad mood. And then the depression then kicks in, the bad mental health kicks in. And so then it's just day after day after day after day, and that's where the Groundhog Day comes from. And I think at the minute, like I say, we're feeling quite positive at the minute. I can see a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And, you know, like I say, Saturday and Sunday, it's still Groundhog Day, but it's slightly different because you've got to find something, an activity for him to do. And, you know, thankfully, her eldest daughter and her fiance will take him out one of the days. But I think it was, can't remember what day it was, whether it was last weekend or the weekend before. The weather was rubbish, and he just stayed in all day, and he was on his Xbox, he was on his phone, and then 6 o'clock came, he wanted to do something because he'd been in all day. And then, you know, there's a slight eruption then. So, I'm sure you have similar.
What you were saying there about, you know, things like everything's like placed in the right places and ready to go, and if it goes all smoothly, it's perfect. But then every now and again, there's the moment where you step off the curb and you end up in the icy puddle, like Bill Murray does in the film, and it's that kind of thing that you kind of think, oh God, yeah. And then it becomes trying to do things differently to break that routine, and that's where things end up. The wheels come off it, and then it becomes just like Groundhog Day, but with the stress. A quick rundown of our day. Depending on who's sleeping where, our Groundhog Day kind of changes quite regularly, but at the moment it's along the lines of my oldest has to catch a bus to school, and that leaves about 7:10 in the morning. So he's up, he's up at about 2 minutes to 7 usually. It's quite impressive. No, he's quite good. He usually surfaces about 20 to 7. He takes forever to get out of bed, get dressed, go through all those things, have breakfast, do his teeth, but he does it, and it's great. You know, he hasn't missed the bus once, and he's brilliant. He takes his medication, his ADHD medication, which lasts throughout his school day, and he's gone by about 7:10, and that's quite handy to have one of them gone. It was always tricky to get them both out of the house at the same time to the same school, because there's a period where I want to do things like clean my teeth, where I have to take my eye off the ball, and the minute I take my eye off the ball, they've probably tied a firework to the dog's tail, put her in the washing machine, and found the keys to the car or something like that. So then as soon as he's gone, I take the dog out, and that's fine again. But it's that moment, when you're knackered, it's lovely to take the dog out, but when you're knackered, it's kind of like, oh my God, Ben, I'm going through the motions here. And again, something can go wrong where she'll decide she wants to go and chase around the field after some rabbits, which adds 15-20 minutes to the walk, and you're just thinking, oh, crying out loud. She comes back. She's never any trouble. She comes back, sits on my foot when she comes running back, looking at me going, that was good, wasn't it? It's like, yes, that was lovely, well done. Get back, by which time my wife's either we cross on the driveway and she's off to work, or I get back and she's just leaving the house, and then my youngest son will have, he just doesn't like getting up. He likes his bed, and he'll have had a shower. He can and will dress himself now, which is good, and he will have the same breakfast every morning, which is 1 potato waffle and 1 lightly poached egg, made to perfection by myself. And then finally, once he's ready, on his terms, we will get out the house, and I'm doing it now, that breathing, imagining what it's like. I get back in the car, come home, and unless I've got something to do, like go to the shops and do some shopping or something, I can come back and I can have some breakfast. And it's before 9 o'clock, and I can think about the day. So it's quite front loaded, obviously. It all fits into the first, 2 hours of rushing around like a maniac.
Running around like a headless chicken.
And that's it, isn't it? It's that kind of, the minute something goes wrong, the routine's broken, you're on autopilot, until something puts a spanner in that works, and then you have to start thinking about it, and that's like, oh God, no. And then it's the other end of the day, meeting the little one from school, him coming home from school, me trying to work at home still, and then the oldest coming home. He doesn't get home till about 5 o'clock. And then it's making dinner, doing bedtimes, which, they're not too bad anymore, but giving them medication to sleep. And I'm going to be honest with you, Carl, it's a win if we can all get into bed and it's before 9 o'clock. And I know it sounds awful, but my God, do I love sleep, trying to get sleep. And do you know what? I cannot remember the last time I sat up and watched something on telly, but I just don't do it anymore. My body's ready to sleep. And then it happens again. So, it's that routine. And the weekends, the weekends don't stop. The dog wants walking at the same time every day. The weekends have sport, usually early in the morning. And then there's things like washing and cleaning and shopping. And, we try and divide the jobs up, depending who you ask. I'd say I do some. Probably don't do as much as I probably could, but hey ho. So it is that kind of never ending cycle of, and it's tiring.
Ugh.
And then, but do you know what? In the blink of an eye, a year's gone by, and you think to yourself, what on earth has happened? I've got greyer. I've become farther removed from knowledge about young person's music. No idea what they're talking about anymore. And it's just like, how, I don't know, been caught in this cycle.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's I listen back to the other apps occasionally, and I've listened back to that first app, and the opening gambit from us of where we were when we first decided we were going to do that to where we are now. I mean, you're saying your youngest gets himself dressed. I mean, in that first bit, you said he started doing it. But for your youngest son to get dressed, it is unbelievable. So hopefully, with age and maturity, the Groundhog Day, may get better or may change. It may still be Groundhog Day, but it'll change slightly. But
yeah, and I don't know what I'm looking for though. So what do I need to change? I don't know. Is it fine? I guess it is fine. I mean, as you say, that first episode I was talking about my oldest son going missing. Where is he? He's mowing the blooming lawn. Well, he ain't going to be mowing the lawn at 10 to 7 in the winter. So, it's that kind of... And I've nothing but complete admiration of everything that... Well, both of them, but at the moment more so the fact that he has managed to do this every single day so far. I mean, he's had a couple of days off because we've all been ill, but, without complaining and then still been able to do things, playing football at the weekend still and doing really well. So, yeah, I think the Groundhog Day is more about me. Definitely. I mean, that's the point. That's the point, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, we are Bill Murray.
Yeah. In this film, rather than Lost in Translation or whatever other ones he's done.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. What's the one? Scrooge? Was that?
Yeah, that was him as well, yeah.
So,
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with knowing what you're going to be doing on a daily basis, is there, I suppose?
No. Well, I mean, say that was another thing I was going to mention to you. So, you also mentioned in, I think it was the same message on you said about Groundhog Day and doing things spontaneous or not being able to do things spontaneous. So, you're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, whether you warn them what you're doing the next day, but then they might not sleep because they're either excited or stressed about it. So you don't warn them about it, and then they get up in the morning and you say, oh, we're doing this. And it's like, whoa, holy shit, I need a warning, kind of thing. So it's really difficult to do things spontaneous, and yeah, you're definitely caught between a rock and a hard place. We've done, family parties where we've gone in and everybody's there and he's kicked off because he's walking in on people. So we've gone in before anyone's turned up, so people coming into him. And as I've said in the past, what works one day doesn't work the next day. And it's just really awkward. He's got a lot better with age. And I just hope that it's like you say, when you're going through the routine in the morning, if something isn't quite right, like the socks, it isn't the right pair of socks or the line's in the wrong place, it's like, I've then got to go get another pair of socks. And then his anxiety starts kicking off and his autism starts kicking off. But sometimes you can put the same pair of socks on that he's kicked off about, and his ADHD is kicked in. He's like, no, get them on quick, so I need run to the gate and back. Start singing Six the Musical on the drive.
I think you're right about the age. And, I mean, I can't actually believe how far we are from when we first started talking about this. I really can't. And, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say things are all, everything's solved. It's all fine.
No, we're not saying we've cracked it.
But what I'm saying is, it is just, we're worlds apart from where we were, and to the point where we went away for a couple of days in half term, and somewhere we'd never been, and that's enough to put me on edge. Christ, my autism kicks in. And it's like, what do you mean? I've got to go somewhere I've never been before, and I don't know people, but they're really good at doing that, and we'll find a way of getting by and plodding around places, and went and sat ourselves down in this cafe, which was just hilarious because we were sat right by the kitchen, and they kept running out of things. Like it's a cafe in the middle of school holiday. They've run out of milk. They've run out of bacon. They've run out of butter. They've run out of cheese. And it's like, we're sitting there, and gradually we're just sitting around laughing more and more. We're just like, can you believe this? I think what they're very good at, and I think I've said before, is they are very good at adapting to new situations. If we're in the family dynamic, if you see what I mean. So if it's the four of us, we can kind of do anything. I talk about this with my oldest quite a lot. Is one thing we are conscious of is, like, my wife is more conscious that he's not really making many friends, but I have conversations with him, and he's not bothered. He's fine. And I talk to him because, just in case, I always say, how's it? How are you about that? What do you think about it? So he always says to us, I just like the family. That's enough for me. That's a very long-winded way of saying, I think with age, things have improved and are improving. And I think, you've seen it yourself with yours as well, that things are moving in the right direction.
Hopefully, Mark. I think Anna said it in one of her bits that every day is a school day. You're still learning. But where we were a while ago, we've moved. We've moved a lot further forward and doing really well. But he's similar to your eldest. He's only got a few friends, but he's in a specialist provision. There's only like 6 or 7 in his class, so it's not a massive 36 people class. So he's got one who he's really close to, another one who he's quite close to as well, and they get on really well. And then obviously he's got his friend that he knew from the mainstream school he went to. He's still close with her. I think he'll be all right. I think he's one of them that with maturity, with age, I think he should be all right, and he will make more friends. That they might have to.
How often now? I mean, it was quite a regular thing that he'd become violent. Has that subsided an awful lot, or is that still raise his head?
Yeah, it's calmed down again. I've had a couple of like pushies, or he tried to punch me in the face the other night a couple of times, but before that it was probably the week before, quite a few days before I had it then, and I haven't been bitten for a while.
That's always something to be pleased about. Small victories.
As Bill Murray said, I sent you a message, didn't I? I've been punched, I've been bitten, I've been kicked, and but no, I haven't. It is a bit steadier at the minute. So, you just take each day off as it comes, and if you haven't had anything, it's a positive. And you have to remember them days where it's gone well, when you haven't been slapped or kicked.
But it's a lot less.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, 100%. I think we have more shouting more than anything, which I'm quite happy with that. I'll put up with that.
It's easier to diffuse, I guess, and it's easier to not join in the shouting. It's not always easy not to join in the shouting, but you know what I mean? It's easy just to sort of not...
Yeah, well, you can ignore that, can't you? Whereas somebody coming at you punching, kicking, You can't ignore that, really. Yeah, better ducking than diving. But you can't really ignore that, and it's then, it's then difficult to use pace. But when it's just swearing, you can kind of ignore it for a bit, and then try and use pace once it's calmed down a little bit. So, yeah, I'd much prefer that.
Yeah, I wish I was better at not reacting to shouting, but,
We're not perfect, Mark.
Well, no, especially when you're ill as well. It's like, oh, for God's sake.
Well, that message you sent to me, I'm really sorry. I listened to it, but as soon as you got to a certain point, I was proper giggling, because it was the fact that you were saying, I'm ill, he's ill, but he still wants to sit next to me and constantly prod me.
I could have throttled him that night. And I think that was the point. That was it. I was just like, oh my God, stop. Or I will just put you in the cupboard and lock the door for a night. Put you in the shed with the giant spiders.
Get in the lawnmower and tell him cut the lawn.
Well, exactly. There with the floodlights on. Come on.
It must be the ADHD part of it, because
oh yeah,
our son will do something like when he was being violent regularly, he'd punch me, say sorry, and then 2 seconds later punch me again, and it's like, yeah, sorry, whack. So, and there's things that he'll do, no, not to that extreme, but he'll say sorry and then do it straight away again.
Well, that's when I say, don't say sorry, don't do it.
Just stop doing it.
And sometimes they'll be like, well, we were watching a movie and we're all sitting there engrossed in the movie, and you'll hear this. And what he's doing, he's just tapping something, usually a lampshade or something. And he's just like, for God's sake. It's like, well, you can't do that because his medication's worn off by that stage. It's like, oh God.
They can't help it, can they?
You're right. And that's when the only thing I can do, and I do this quite often, is get my blowpipe with a dart and go, poison dart in his neck. He's out for 14 hours. If only.
Strong, Dan. It's strong stuff. What
very, very good.
Down with.
Yes. If only. No, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Honestly, so.
My son's the same when he's playing on his Xbox. Because it's built out of IKEA cupboards and he's sat up, he'll be playing, he'll be verbal stemming, and it's like you can hear him verbal stemming, they're very loud, but he's constantly kicking the cabinet with his feet. And it's like, oh my God, it's like Japanese torture with the water dripping on your head. But it is one of them things that you just cannot help it. You can't sit still. He'll be sat down on the sofa, and one of his legs is moving, or one of his feet is tapping. So yes, the joys.
Which leads us nicely into a segue into next episode, because there are going to be a generation of kids probably who won't be assessed for some of these really fucking annoying behaviours.
I thought we weren't going to swear.
Really flipping annoying behaviours that you can't just pop them a pill and say, shut up for a bit.
And these are the things that adopted parents need. They need these diagnoses, because without them, there are certain doors that you can't open to get more help. But if, when these cuts do, or if they're already in or they do come in, you've got the choice of getting the diagnosis or the therapy. Or you can get the diagnosis and only get a little bit of the therapy. And it's going to put so much strain on the adopters, and it's also not fair on the kids because they're not getting the right help.
Well, I think what I'll do, and we can both do this, is take stock and find out exactly where we are. There's a few people that we can speak to. Good luck with your 6 o'clock alarm call tomorrow morning with Sonny and Cher. I've got you, babe. And yeah, watch out for that puddle.
Oh, God, yes, definitely. I will be reaching over and punching the alarm clock at 6 o'clock. No, it will be fine, Mark. Tomorrow will be the day where Groundhog Day is broken.
Yeah, it's going to be 6 inches of snow. We won't be able to leave the house.
Yes. Oh, God, yeah, no, I don't want that. I want to go to school.
Thank you for listening to Adopters Anonymous and their reflections on life being like Groundhog Day. As Carl and Martin said, next time they'll be examining the significant cuts and changes being made to the Adoption and Special Guardianship Support Fund in the UK, and many in the adoption sector are very concerned. And we'd like to hear from you. If you have any views on this, please contact us at adopters.anonymous@gmail.com.